Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. Welcome back. It's your boy DELRAY Richardson, platinum artist, platinum songwriter, straight game TV. I thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your time. I'm gonna let a couple of people come up in here so we could talk about it. Irv Gotti, may he rest in peace. Let a couple more people come up in here. We're gonna talk about it. DMC Rain G4, welcome. T Rip Gotti, King, what's happening? Andre Falk, Dante Diaz, Sticky Fingers, Peace, Bustown BC, The Good, Sean Ali, CC Black, rest in peace to Irv Gotti. Your boy DELRAY Richardson, platinum artist, platinum songwriter. It's been a long time. I shouldn't have kept y'all, but I'm back. Appreciate the patience and appreciate everybody that comes through to click on the button to tune in. Fatima, what's good? Always a pleasure. Sean Bates, Nate Hatter, what's good? What's that? Dewano Smith. Thank you guys for tuning in. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you heard, but the news is true. The late, great Irving Lorenzo is his real name. Irving Lorenzo, a.k.a. Irv Gotti, is no longer with us, ladies and gentlemen. For the people who had been keeping up with Irv Gotti and his health problem, Irv suffered a bout with diabetes, and one should take this very seriously. I don't know, I understand all of the disenchantment that 50 Cent and Irv had. At this particular time, I choose to focus on the learning from this because it's a valuable lesson, and I'm going to tell you why. Most people don't really look at it from this perspective. Uh, Risley, what's happening? Yeah, Irv was definitely a dope producer, and not only was he a dope producer, but he was a hell of an executive. Irv knew how to handle the business. Jim D was good, but more importantly, Irving Lorenzo, trailblazing founder of the Murder Inc. Records, one of hip hop's most influential producers, passed away. Basically, he was taken off of life support uh, after having complications with a stroke, ladies and gentlemen. Taken off of life support after having the complications with a stroke due to a long bout with diabetes. And whether you black, white, whatever, but a lot of times, a lot of us in the black community, we suffer from diabetes or high blood pressure or whatever, sometimes due to hereditary or otherwise. But Irv Gotti passed away from complications from a stroke due to his long bout with diabetes. More importantly, um, I believe like a year ago, Irv suffered a stroke, and they had pictures of him on the internet with him walking with a cane, if you will. And for me, I never laugh. I always try to learn. You know what I mean? A lot of people when they see you successful and they see you, you know, go through a bout with your health or financial difficulties and downfall, people tend to look at things a different way. It all depends on who the person is, but I take this as a learning experience, um, and learning from Irv Gotti and his situation when we talking about diabetes and things like that that affect a lot of us. And some people are going around undiagnosed because they don't go to the doctor, if you will, from that perspective. And so, um, unfortunately, yeah, if y'all remember, early last year, Irv Gotti had discussed his bout with diabetes and how it began to deteriorate his health. He admitted struggling to maintain a healthy lifestyle and manage his insulin intake, challenges that ultimately led to his latest stroke that he just suffered from. And from that stroke, I believe, uh, uh, he couldn't get back from that. And so, from what I'm understanding, that is his family and loved ones took him off of life support. Um, but yeah, it's a thing that goes on in our community. The thing that I would like to really look at, like just a few, I would say about a year ago, Irv Gotti sold his music catalog, if you will, for from up 100 $200 million. um, and he was talking about how I think it was J.P. Morgan, how they had approached him, or he approached them, and basically said that they, as a money manager, they would manage his money, and they told him, hey, we could hook you with some of the best doctors. So I'm sure that Irv Gotti did not suffer from the lack of care, but like I said, once again, when it's your time to go, there is no amount of money that can help you stay here one day longer than you're supposed to be here. It doesn't matter about the money. And when one understands that, that's when you start to live your life and really not, trip over the small stuff and start to enjoy your family and things like that. So this is the thing that I take from this situation involving Irv Gotti. Like I said, he was not struggling for finances or anything like that. But more importantly, um, when you think about everything he had, most people tend to look at how much money a person has versus one taking care of their health. And then taking care of your health is very important because the money don't matter. Like I said, you can have the best doctors in the world. I always say Steve Jobs is no longer here. He was worth 8 billion. Charlie Munger was a billionaire also. For those who don't know who that was, he was an investor, good friends with Warren Buffett. Older up in age, but like I said, once again, one thinks that when you got a lot of money, that it tends to help you, stay here longer. Like you can have the best doctors, but like I said, when it's your time to go, there's not a dollar or check you can write to stay here any longer. So, as for the people who know, early in 2024, Irv Gotti had openly shared and discussed his bout with diabetes and how it deteriorated his health. He admittedly struggled with maintain his healthy lifestyle, and manage his insulin intake, challenges that ultimately led to his latest stroke. Following his previous health scare, Gotti was often seen using a cane and appeared visibly slimmer. And so, like I said, when he had went on Drink Champs, he was on Drink Champs on there, and he was talking about you know uh, his masters, the business. He was talking about Ashanti. He was talking about the relationship with Ashanti and how she wanted her stems to try to redo her album all over again, and things of that nature. And he seemed to be the same Irv Gotti that we know. Irv, he was kind of always combative, if you will. Not really combative, but he just had this thing about him. You know what I mean? It was like, you know, it's like, come on, Ashanti, like, come on. What do you think? I'm stupid? You know what I mean? From that perspective. And so I think that's one of the things that we can hold true about Irv Gotti from that perspective, but also his business sense and how he handled business, how he, brung Murder Inc. into um, fruition, Ja Rule, Ashanti, um, and I would say namely Ja Rule and Ashanti, but also producing other artists and things of that nature. And so, but yeah, Irv Gotti is gone now, man. And like I said, who would have thought, when you think about life, you think about money, you think about longevity, you think about enjoying your family, you think about enjoying your kids, your wife, you know, and all of those other things. And I got to send a shout out to Irv Gotti's brother, um, and his family, his kids. as well. And hopefully, like I said, they're finding some kind of comfort in the man of the house that they call the man of the house, uh, is no longer here. That's very important. Like I said, if you could kind of sit back and just imagine, you know, what it would be like if your family or your wife or was were to lose you and no longer be there, and your situation is a solid one. You know what I mean? Like money will bring you security, but it won't bring you that comfort that you look for when you look for in that other human being that you reside with, that you've shared your life with, and through thick and thin. So from that perspective, but yeah, as we seen, but a year ago, there were pictures floating around on the internet with Irv Gotti looking a little bit slimmer, and he had talked about his bout with diabetes, signaling that he had health issues, and at the time he described a stroke, and like I said, don't really know how long a person's going to be with you, but he had described the stroke as a wake up call. You know what I mean? As a wake up call to basically get on top of his health. You know what I mean? Irv Gotti was, he had drank and partaked into the regular things that some of us do and some of us don't choose to do, right? Um, and so from that perspective, yeah, it, um, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy because, like I said, he talked about it, but you just never know how long a person is actually going to be here. Um, and like I said, Irving Lorenzo, Irv Gotti, you know what I mean? Shout out to everybody in Queens who knew Irv Gotti, and all of the Queens people in New York, everybody from Queens. Yeah, we all know Irv began his career as a DJ and producer, grinding, like I said, um, you know, uh, producing Mike Geronimo's Real Shit, you know what I mean? In 1995, and Irv came on the scene, started his own thing, with Ashanti, Ja Rule, and they produced hits over there, Murder Inc., like I said. So much so that the catalog, was worth about $200 million. And he just sold that, like I said, before he passed away. I don't know if he knew anything about how it would affect his health, or should I shouldn't say affect his health, but would help in the health care that he would need, long-term health care that he would need based on his illness. And like I said, when he sat down for Drink Champs, like I said, from the waist up, it seemed like he was pretty coherent. It seemed like everything. I mean, you go back and you look at that interview, it seemed like everything he was, still all there health wise. But unfortunately, you just never know. You just never know. And like I said, unfortunately, brother Irving Lorenzo, Irv Gotti, is no longer with us. And yeah, so kiss your loved ones, man. Like hug the little ones. You know what I mean? And like I said, take care of yourself and stay up on your health. And like I said, if you haven't visited the doctor, go see the doctor and make sure you take care of your health. This is a learning lesson. That's what Irv Gotti said. He had said, in one of the last interviews, he had said once he had the stroke, he basically called it a wake up call. You know what I mean? And so all of us try to, you know, as best we can, we got to try to maintain and take care of ourselves. Absolutely. Irv Gotti was responsible for a lot of people. Like I said, DMX, all of that. Like I said, and Irv was talking about how they didn't want to sign DMX. You know what I mean? Like I said, the visionaries and the people that came through the game. That's why, I titled the title what it was. Like I said, he basically Irv kind of changed hip hop, because a lot of times, you know, um, from what he was saying, that Leo and them, they really didn't have the vision. You know what I mean? They didn't have the vision that it took, like guys like, I would say Irv Gotti, I would say Dame Dash, you know what I mean? The guys who, come from those places, Queens, Harlem, the Bronx, you know what I mean? Long Island, New York, you know what I mean? You talk about the essence of hip hop and where that culture actually began. Um, and so once again, when you see and understand that, yeah, Irv Gotti. That's why I said, like I said, I don't know for the people that really don't know a lot about hip hop, but yeah, And it's funny also that DMX is also gone. You know, um, yeah, and you see now what it is versus what it isn't. So yeah, man, it's crazy. Like I said, and we knew about the trial and all of the trials and tribulations that he had went through, as far as like when they tried to hit him with the thing, um, with the case involving McGriff, Kenneth Supreme McGriff, right? When Irv and that showed me, I seen like a side of a person, um, that his undying loyalty to Supreme McGriff. Like I said, that was like I believe Herb described him as his big brother. You know what I mean? And like I said, when Supreme was going through his thing, Herb was right there by his side. And what it seemed like at that particular time was like, they didn't want Herb the Gotti to use the money that he had to support Supreme from that perspective. But that was one of the other things that he had went through that was really highly publicized in regards to his situation. They were calling Supreme at that time a drug kingpin. And yeah, yeah. Shout out, like I said, shout out to his brother, Chris Gotti, and the rest of his family. You know what I mean? We know about the situation with him and 50. They weren't really getting along for whatever reason. And that's what that was. And that's what that is. Yeah. So, but like I said, in 2022, pay attention, man. 2022, Irv Gotti made the headlines, and based on the success of his content, his intellectual property, which he protected. And like I said, once again, he did the right deal where Irv Gotti basically owned his music catalog, which was very powerful. You understand what I'm saying? A lot of people don't really understand how important that is. And that's when music was a little bit different, you know what I mean? But yeah, um, something like 200, $300 million. You know what I mean? Uh, to a company. The company was called Visionary Ideas Entertainment, and the ability to he kind of pivoted, to licensing and things like that. But like I said, even with all the money, man, it can't keep you here. Can't keep you here. So, like I say, Irv Gotti, man, gone but never forgotten. Um, the music lives on. You know what I mean? And Ja Rule, hopefully Ashanti, all of them. Shout out to them, and like I said, in his family. So no, I don't think you understand. See the difference between when you sell the masters versus parts of the publishing, right? The masters are one thing, and then parts of the publishing. So Herb Gotti being a producer on most of those records, right? He can sell his stake of that in that uh in that music catalog as well as the masters. Get it? So Irv Gotti, Murder Inc. If Murder Inc. He owned Murder Inc. He owned the records that Ja Rule put out, Ashanti, and all of these other records that he produced, right? That sold millions of copies. Then the production aspect, the publishing aspect, the masters aspect, he can sell his stake, like I said, which brings money in perpetuity, um, for close to $300 million. And like I said, that's only going to even make more money now. Like I said, as this news gets out, they're gonna push the catalog, pump the catalog, and that's just how it works. Yeah, yeah. Like I said, Rain G4. You're right. The Irv Gotti and Ashanti. I wouldn't say from what I understood, they had dated at one time, but Ashanti was more trying to get her stems. Stems are the like instrumentals to to the records that they produced, and Irv Gotti didn't want to give her the stems so she could do like Taylor Swift did, in which Taylor Swift got her stems from her record and then recorded all her records over again so that she would in turn own her masters, right? That's what Irv Gotti was talking about on Drink Champs, about how then she would own the masters, then it would devalue the masters that he had. So he didn't want to give Ashanti the stems so that she could record the music over again. Yeah, absolutely, Dante Diaz, to re-record the music over again with the stems. And so yeah, so that's what Herb was talking about, because and him doing the deal and selling and doing the deal for the money that he did. If he would have gave her, let's hypothetically say he would have gave her the stems, then it would have devalued the actual worth of the catalog that he had. And because Ashanti is the artist attached to the art and performs the art on tour and in concert and things like that, they would, basically place more of a value on hers. The Taylor Swift situation was kind of the similar, same thing. Um, Scooter Braun basically sold her. The guy Scooter Braun, he basically sold Taylor Swift's um, masters to her record for about 200-300 million, something like that. So yeah. So yeah, but like I said, more importantly, man, may Irv Gotti rest in peace. And yeah, this is the way it goes, man. Like you say, Murder Inc. You know what I mean? Murder Inc. Like I say, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I'll be back at you guys a little bit more often. And like I said, once again, your boy DELRAY. Yeah, straight gang.